nobody else is aware of these prior stories, and you shouldn't be. Like, issue 1 of the Oni Press, Spirit of the Shadows, completely standalone.
Yeah, this is what we want everybody to see.
This is your introduction, even though we've been doing spirit stuff forever. It's a wholly standalone series. But all right, so we're here to talk about the Spirit of the Shadows and the long storied history of Spirit of the Shadows.
Goes way back.
Yeah, so
2013.
2013 is where the seed was planted.
I remember you telling me you were working on this idea for a short film, and it was going to be just an old school horror inspired kind of thing, you know, like classic Universal monster type stuff. And I remember you sent me a drawing of what the main character would look like, and it was like this guy in a top hat, like this dark, mysterious looking dude with these crazy goggles and maybe crazy hair too, and sometimes a crazy face or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was cool.
So yeah, the true origin of Spirit of the Shadows is as a short film. We'd been making short films for years at that point. I'm, primarily a filmmaker. I've wanted to be a filmmaker my entire life. So even in high school, we just started making short films with our friends. And we had just come off the heels of making Red Song, which was the third short film that we had made. And we had also just graduated high school, right?
Yeah.
So it was the summer right after we graduated high school. And we were thinking about what the next film was going to be. We were all just about to go up to college. You were staying in Arizona. I was going to New York. And I was thinking about what kind of movies I like but don't see much of anymore. And I kind of remember driving one night, late at night, and then this scene kind of popped into my head from what could exist in the realm of like a Universal Monsters black and white movie about a guy that had come back from the dead and was speaking to some guy that had married the woman that this guy loved in his life before he died, and that he had come back from the dead to get his love back. So that was like the very first like little scene that I remember, and it kind of started to build from there. And then I was like, okay, well, I love Universal monster movies. I like horror. I like less horrific horror, and I think there's something there. So
more classy horror.
Right. Yeah, so I went off to college then, and I started writing this short film. I wasn't sure yet if it was going to be something we'd do like over the summer when I came back to Arizona, or if I was going to try to do it in college in New York. Long story short, that didn't work out, but I do have some files here from the very, very beginning of this process, and these are some of the first things ever for Spirit of the Shadows. They look nothing like it, but
wow, there's that crazy dude with the crazy hair.
Yeah, so I think this is probably the first thing I ever drew, and I'm not an artist. You'll quickly see why Nick is the one that ended up designing the character's final look, because I'm not skilled in that department. But this is dated September 17th, 2013. So I was in college writing this monster short film. You can see it didn't even have a name yet. It just said Monster Movie Concept. This is another one from the same day. At that point, he just looked like a creepy dude. But at some point, it started to take form as something more like this. And it involved a top hat, a pair of goggles, and some kind of a face covering. And I have a lot of varying levels of quality here in some of these, but one of the consistent things seemed to be like a high collar,
yeah,
and a dark dark face covering and like a dark hat. And that is important because obviously that's not how he ended up, but in the very, very start, that's the direction, at least for the short film that I was heading in.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I guess I must have shown those to you. Yeah. And then what did you do with it?
It was probably like right around then, like a couple weeks later, maybe October 2013. I really liked the sound of all that, and just did my little hand at drawing the design right there. And yeah, it was.
Yeah, so that's probably like the first drawing you ever did of Spirit of the Shadows.
Yeah,
one of the first. And this is not the original. You did it in a sketchbook or something, right? Probably.
These are just reproductions.
Yeah, but it's similar in that it's still kind of dark colored, but it's getting more in the wheelhouse of what it ended up being, right?
Right. And I think somewhere around after here, it was sort of decided, or gears were switched completely, that we decided on turning it into a comic book.
So the short film fell through. Basically, it was just too ambitious, didn't have the money, didn't have the means. We actually went on to make a feature film that summer called Time Space.
Oh yeah.
And that was crazy.
Story for another day.
Yes, Time Space, it's not great, but you know, it's out there. And then around the end of Time Space, which would have been summer of 2014.
Yeah.
Near the end of that, it premiered on the day before my birthday. So as a joint like wrap gift and birthday gift, you and our friend Tristan made me an original Iron Man short story that you drew.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm not.
Little known fact, there's like a 8-10 page Iron Man story I did in my early days of drawing comics here.
I don't know if it's out there or not. I'm gonna keep this secret because
it used to be.
It might be out there somewhere.
Not anymore. I don't think so.
If you look in the dark web somewhere, it might be.
Yeah, it used to be on my DeviantArt page, but I don't have that anymore. But it's lost now.
But I do have the originals all still here, and it's one of the coolest gifts I ever got, I think. I love it. And why that's important is that included at the end of that was this piece of original art.
Oh yeah. Looks a little closer to that guy, right?
Yeah, it says Spirit of the Shadows, coming soon. It's dated 2014. Yeah. So at that point, I guess, had we committed to doing the comic, or talking about it?
I think we were talking about it before then, but that was kind of like us being like, we're doing this, you know? Because I think like going back into college that fall, we were really like starting to go all in on like figuring out what that looks like more, and like I did a whole lots of explorations on the character design and stuff, and it landed on like that drawing that you just saw. But like some of the ones in between there before, it was a little more different, a little bit more, I don't know, extreme or edgy. You got like a big dark coat and white pants or something. It's a little, I don't know.
You can see the evolution of it.
Yeah.
I can tell you were kind of starting at my crappy drawings and then trying to get it more to a simpler place, a more streamlined place.
Right.
So it started off a little complex, and then it started to take shape. But I guess the biggest sort of change right off the bat is you started using a white color scheme for the hat and the face.
Yeah.
Instead of dark.
It's pretty crazy. And like I noticed here too, it's right around August, right around your birthday when we're doing that story and the other drawing. So yeah, right around then that stuff was happening there. it was just some more of those early explorations, just trying to figure out like the logic of stuff. Like, you know, I think we were talking more like he's got this helmet that's like part of the whole back to life undead setup. There's some components to it. Like part of the other thing is his costume underneath. It ended up turning into like this horizontal like wrap kind of texture that kind of goes along the whole body, sort of like I like calling it like the seaweed wrap, but it's like this in reality it's like this chemical like bath is like embedded into the suit underneath that like keeps him like his joints going and keeps like feeding him like energy and stuff. So that was like the intention behind like stuff like that. And I just thought it was fun having some stuff that it made sense. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a lot of fun trying to get it more simplified and more just as like a graphic, you know, thing that could stand out on the page. I was really just kind of going crazy with stuff back then, just experimenting with just all sorts of stuff, and that's what the comic ended up being, was just this really weird experimental almost kind of thing.
Yeah, you can tell it did kind of, I don't know how long it took, but it did sort of quickly take shape over the drawings you just showed. Like it went from that kind of crazy place to, you know, pretty close to what we see now.
Yeah. There's a little bit of like finding that voice, you know. I was like really like inexperienced in a way. Like I hadn't drawn too many comics. I'd done a few with their friend Tristan before that, so it was exciting being able to start working on something with you too, and you know, just like doing more things. You really like develop. You know, your voice, and it could vary on like different projects and stuff, and that was like what those explorations really show to me, you know. A little bit of our guy underneath the mask. I think these are the first drawings that I did of Eric. One of the things for like his outfit, or just like some of the clothing design in general in the book, was like, I don't know, just mirroring some of like the shapes that were on like the spirit's costume, just trying to commit to weird geometrical shapes on things, like sort of the inverse of the spirit on his thing, and that kind of pops up in some places in that old book and even in the new one. Wow. First drawings of Katrina there too.
Yeah.
You want to say what I'm thinking?
Oh no, they're beautiful.
Back in the day, I felt like kind of like I wasn't too good at drawing women, you know, like too beautiful or whatever. So that was like we gotta really like try and make her look good and stuff, sort of thing, going into this book.
Yeah, I remember I loved all your designs except Katrina just wasn't pretty enough, and I was like, this is Eric's entire world. She's got to be gorgeous, and it got there, but
Yeah.
I remember that was a little harder than some of the other character designs, which is kind of funny. And I guess the other thing you'll notice is that a lot of the elements are the same as the newer version of Spirit of the Shadows. So, you know, a lot of the things in that book and a lot of the things in this book were in the failed short film. You know, they've carried on kind of from the very beginning. You know, the same general cast of characters, the names.
We gotta talk about Perkins. He's honestly one of my favorite characters to draw, in the old one and the new one. I don't know why. It's just kind of a funny facial structure and everything. It's just fun shapes to keep drawing.
Yeah.
And that's retained in the new one too. he looks a little different, but it's still the same principles, you know. It's that fun scientist kind of character.
Yeah, like a Dr. Frankenstein type.
Yeah, that's one thing with like the names too. A lot of the names in the book are like horror.
Yeah,
names.
they have origins. Perkins, his name comes from Anthony Perkins, the actor who played Norman Bates.
Yeah.
His first name is Hyde, obviously a reference to Jekyll and Hyde, so Dr. Hyde Perkins.
Yep.
Katrina is based on Katrina Van Tassel from the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Eric is from Phantom of the Opera. So definitely classic horror was baked into the DNA of the book at all levels.
Oh yeah. There's some funny early sketches here of Eric and Katrina from the old book. Eric, I gave him like these little beady eyes before. He just had like the most simple looking face, and I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, there's some other characters. It's another one from the old book, and he's in the new one too.
Yes, Lord Albert Lemley, and it is pronounced Lemley. I know that's
Not Lamel.
Lamal or Lemel, or I'm sure that's going to be a point of contention for anyone reading even the new book. Is it's always a hard name to pronounce. It's spelled a little weird, but that is based on Carl Laemmle, the president of Universal Studios and the producer of a lot of those early Universal Monsters movies. So again, there's a history there, and I just thought it was a really cool name, but definitely not the easiest thing to pronounce.
Oh, and I remember that guy in particular in the old book. The one thing you had fun with was making up like fake curse words and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of them were real, actually. They were like Victorian era insults and exclamations and stuff that sounds ridiculous nowadays. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that, but
like one of them was like taradiddle.
Yeah, that's not that didn't really carry it in the new book. I remember some people were like, "These are ridiculous."
Yeah, who would use these words?
Yeah, so at the time it was like trying to have it exist in this older time period, but I don't think it really came through. But yeah, that was a fun thing.
I think going forward, well, even back then we tried to be kind of fast and loose with it. Like it's a fictional setting and a non-specific time period. That's like a thing I think we both enjoy. Like I know for Pink Lemonade, I really did a lot of that. People were constantly like confused. Like when does this take place? Why are there like big computers and old cell phones and like flat screen TVs at the same time? Yeah, those are some fun colored ones right there.
Yeah, some drawn traditionally but colored digitally, right?
Yeah, they were.
And we were just noticing that we had forgot the eyes were colored green even back then. In the eventual colored version of that book, they were white, and they were white for a while, and Nick decided to make them green in the new version, thinking that was kind of an original change, but it turns out we just forgot, and that's what it started out as, and it was actually just going back to the beginning. So that's kind of a cool thing.
I think because for the original book we were decided it's going to be black and white, you know, like well, what's the point of having the eyes be green really? So I think that's one really nice thing about coming back to it after so long, being able to like fully evolve it and give it like the full most polish it can have is like you know, like you've seen like all these early Spirit designs and stuff, and just that evolution, it doesn't stop ever, you know, like it got to this here, and like there's a lot of subtle changes from 10 years ago, you know. It's one of the old covers right there for the old book.
Yeah, so at this point it was 2015.
Yeah.
Was it completely released in 2015?
It was, yeah.
That was pretty quick, actually.
Yeah, like end December 2015.
Yeah.
I put out the finished original Spirit of the Shadows online,
Yeah.
and like nobody read it. we were so like kind of sad.
Yeah, I just saw the memories of that. I think it was like a week or two ago.
Thanks, Facebook.
Facebook reminded us of when we put out that original book. And now it's cool to kind of see how far it's come. But at the time, it was like we put all this effort into it and nobody cared. But that's just the process of making art.
Yeah, for like a week there, I was like, I'm done. I'm never doing it again.
Yeah, so this original version, it was a 3-issue story.
Yeah.
These are the 3-issue covers. This was, well, it was a 3-parter, I guess. We called it part 1, part 2, and part 3. 1, 2,
and 3.
And these did eventually get colored. I think that was the only thing that was originally colored.
Yeah.
So the book was in black and white. The covers were colored, and we printed the first part as an ash can, which we have here. This is the most rare piece of Spirit memorabilia, I think, right?
Yeah. That's like the original printed comic that we've ever made. Like we did you did that one first, and then I think Tristan and I followed with Infinite Wonders #3 ash can too. Mm-hmm. So those little ash cans for like the very first.
Yeah, I can't remember how many of these we printed, but it was
like 20 or something.
It was definitely like less than 50.
Yeah.
And they pretty much only went out to family and friends, and I think a couple of them may have gotten sold at like really early conventions.
Yeah. There's a few people out there that might have them.
There might be a few of these in the wild, but probably not many. But yeah, we only did it for part 1 for some reason. You can see on the back there it says next, Spirit of the Shadows part 2. They recall what makes a man, what makes a murderer, and what makes a monster were the names, the subtitles of each of the parts. And then when we did the last one, we just put out the whole story together.
Yeah, like little chapters. And
one big change you can see is the right there.
Yeah,
the title for the longest time in every version of this story until this one was The Spirit of the Shadows. And finally we dropped the this time.
Yeah, I just kept it to 4 words instead of 5. But somehow, funnily, we keep seeing it keeps getting named different names every time out there, like Spirit in the Shadows, Spirit Shadows.
Spirit in the Shadows, Spirits of the Shadows.
Yeah.
Spirits
of the Shadow Realm.
Of the Shadow Realm. We thought we were making the title
simpler,
more succinct by getting rid of that but apparently there's still too many words in that title.
I mean, how many times do you hear people saying Guardians of the Galaxy is like
true,
the Guardians of the Galaxy Realm?
Phantom of the Opera. Realm. That was that was kind of the idea there. So yeah, it's kind of funny now at this point to see how many different names people come up with for the book.
We enjoy it.
We should have a running list of all the different titles, but hopefully the majority of people will correctly call it Spirit of the Shadows.
Well, now that we said that, people are probably gonna just troll us.
Intentionally call it crazy things.
Yeah.
Shadows of the Spirit. I think I've heard that one.
Yeah.
Mm. But yeah, here's some of the interior art of the original version. So it's all black and white. We did some really funky lettering.
Yeah.
Uh,
All those pages in the old book were like ink washed. So like did like these weird washy textures on every page to give the black and whites some crazy gray tones, and that was a thing I was really doing a lot back then. And just like I said, like the part of experimenting, all the layouts in this book were quite crazy. I remember having like my first portfolio review ever. A page from that was in there. It was the croquet page. And there, the people were like, "Dang, look at that, going back and forth with the croquet." They're like, "That is cool." I felt really good about that in the moment. I think it's a little crowded if I look at it now, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing, you know. You're just trying all sorts of crazy things, and that's where I feel like I was at the time.
Yeah, it's fun to look back on it. Again, it was the building block that led to everything else. And in terms of the writing, it expanded the original short film idea quite a bit. The short film was kind of a very quick, brisk little story. And then this 3-part comic graphic novel is more of, it's many steps closer to like the definitive version of like the origin story of this character, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah, again, they got the green eyes.
Yeah, but we did that book, and then the next year we finally turned it into a short film. 2016, yeah, Lost in the Shadows.
All right, so we did the comic. We felt good about this world and this character, and we liked it. And that wasn't the end. Yeah. So
I think Halloween 2015, my grandma actually helped me make Spirit of the Shadows costume.
Okay, all right.
So we had the costume already. So then the next year we're like, let's use it.
Yeah, so this guy behind us came into existence because Nick dressed up as the Spirit of the Shadows for Halloween 2015, you said?
Yeah, nobody knew what I was, and I had like a bucket on my head instead of how he looks now.
Yeah, it looked a little different, a little less burned, and
a little derpier.
Yeah, a little more like the original comic version of him. But that was important because it was 2016?
Yeah.
We started thinking about what the next short film we're going to make was, because pretty much like that's what we did. Every time we had a spare summer or a winter break or something, we would make a short film and put it out there, and
as one does.
Yeah, it would, get our creative muscles working and have some productive thing to say for our time. So we were thinking about what the next short film was going to be, and we're like, what if we did do a Spirit short film like we always wanted to? But the only way that it made sense was to not do the whole sprawling story, but to do kind of a moment in time in that story. So it wasn't adapting anything specifically in the comic that we had done, but it was taking a moment that would have theoretically happened between the pages of the story in the book.
Yeah, and letting you see it.
And just kind of focusing in on this one moment. So that was the origin of that idea, and the hard part at that point was, how do we make a short film in Phoenix, Arizona, the desert, that looks as stylistically crazy as this book did? That was a tall order, because we couldn't just have the Spirit roaming the mountains.
No, we really don't look like an old Victorian European town out here.
So what did we do, Nick?
We just built everything in miniatures and like put like a whole like cardboard city together, and just painted little things and little trees and stuff, and built all sorts of tiny little trinkets in different sizes.
Right. So yeah, we figured if we couldn't film in our existing town and we couldn't afford to build a full-size town set, what if we built a really tiny town set and then just green screened actors into it so that it felt tactile and larger than life, but also delightfully artificial and in the style of the book and of your art. And then I think sort of early on we decided to really lean into like the German expressionist style of it. The final film looks very much like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. That's maybe stylistically different from like this book, but it was the right thing to kind of smooth over the rough edges of what we were trying to do, which was a pretty crazy proposition at the time. So yeah, we took a huge cardboard box and a bunch of like poster boards, and we cut out little buildings and we made them so that we could rearrange them inside this cardboard box.
Yeah.
And we had a tiny little Blackmagic pocket camera that we could put anywhere in this cardboard town and get a shot of what would be the background plate for whatever the scene or the shot called for. Separately, we had actors film against a green screen. And when I say actors, I also mean you, because once again, you wore the spirit costume.
Yeah. That takes on a whole nother meaning for like being like in the character's shoes, you know, like, because drawing the book, it's like one thing, but literally wearing it's another.
Yeah. So we adapted the costume a little bit from the one that Nick wore for Halloween. I think we dirtied it up and burnt it a little bit. We redid the face mask and the mouth and the goggles and the hat for sure. Definitely most of the changes were in the face. And even since then, we've made the goggles green to match the new comic. We just did that earlier today. But for the short film, they were white, as they were in that book.
Yeah.
And as they were ever since, even though apparently they were green to begin with. But yeah, we tried to make it look a little more realistic, a little grittier, a little like not as goofy looking. And Nick wore it. I did the voice.
Yeah.
I I dabble in voice acting here and there because I've got a silly voice and I can adapt it. So that was how the spirit came to life. We used some of our friends and other local actors to round out the cast, and a whole lot of post-processing to remove the green screen and put the actors into the little set and color correct it to tint it to make it look like it was a silent film. And we used a lot of fog, a lot of unique little
kaleidoscope
animations, and we used like filming in little gemstones and kaleidoscopes. There's like a dream sequence that is the one part that is in almost full color, and that was everything was done practically in one way or another, except for maybe some of like the animated words and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a very, very hands-on thing. And in addition to the town, I just remember we built the interior of the castle.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really cool. I remember like we built balconies or lofts, and big picture and doorways. And
it was so cool. It was like, just like I said too, like the different scale. Because like we had the tiny version of the castle exterior, and a big version of the castle exterior, then the inside of the castle, and then I just got like characters walking around inside the castle, and it's just kind of like just really otherworldly,
and I think the final product is a little self-serving in that like the story doesn't totally make complete sense on its own. I know some people watched it and been like, I didn't follow this at all, but for us, it was, it made sense, and I think stylistically, it's still like a cool artifact of our, our creative process. And again, another step in the evolution of Spirit of the Shadows, going from short film to comic to short film, totally different short film, but
and then back to a haunted house the next year.
Yeah, so is that the next thing?
Yeah, simultaneously 2017 we remaster the comic.
So we were all in on Spirit still. Like this character's consumed our lives for a decade. So yeah, I guess at the same time we just couldn't let it go.
Oh.
We wanted to color the book, right? And
Yeah.
Did that come after coloring Infinite Wonders, I think?
Yeah, you colored a little bit of Infinite Wonders and then an issue or two, and then you were like, well, we do that for Spirit, but we really like the scans that we had of Spirit originally, like in this ash can and that original digital release, were a little on the rougher side. So
yeah, I don't remember how you scanned them at the time, but I think you did it yourself.
I think just with a camera, a
really bad point and shoot.
Yeah,
I remember. I don't know if you remember this, but when we revisited the book, we wanted new scans, so we took it to the UPS store or the FedEx store or something.
I
remember the guy was just not happy that when we walked in with how many pages was it? Like probably 100 pages of original art, huge original art, and to get scanned one by one. And the first version of the scans we got were not good. No. They were compressed. They looked like newsprint. They were it was scans for like a document and not like a photograph.
Yeah, they had like little tiny like print dots all over them, and it was so compressed you couldn't see anything.
Right. So we spent forever getting every page of this thing scanned again, new, thinking it was going to be these great new scans, and then I think we came back and looked at them all and we're like, these are unusable. So I remember we went back to the UPS store, the FedEx store, and had them like adjust the settings of their scanner to get like complete raw uncompressed images, and I think that took even longer. And the file sizes were huge, but they looked good finally.
So
we finally got good scans of the book, and then from there I colored them.
Well, first we put it out in black and white that year.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
We just had these nice scans, so then we're like,
that's right.
Let's re-release the comic, and that's what the haunted house was for. We're like, go read the comic. It's like, looks nice.
Oh, so I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, a little bit.
So we got these nice scans, and then we put out a new version of the book with the nice scans and a new cover, right?
A different cover.
That's the one with him dangling the necklace over the castle.
Velvety.
Yeah, that was a cool cover. I did like that one. So we put that one out. That's right, because I remember the picture we had outside the haunted house was that cover. So I guess that same Halloween, whatever year it was, I don't even remember. 2017. I'm glad you've got that memory. We did a walkthrough haunted house in my garage for trick-or-treaters. Once again, being totally self-serving, we're like, what if we had people walk through the story of this comic that we just remastered, and then we could use it to, market the comic, but also just have a good time bringing that to life.
That was a crazy couple of days. Like, we were planning on it more than a couple of days, but for a couple of days there, we were just like all in the garage, like painting these life-size like cardboard people and faces and stuff, and we used some props from like the short film, and The dummy was there.
That's right. Yeah, we used that. We used some. I think the Katrina picture that we used.
Yeah.
You painted from the short film, and then there were some original characters made. You painted them on big poster boards, and I still have all of them in my storage unit. I have very large original Nick paintings of these characters from way back then. And we like hung trash bags from the walls to make it a maze for people to go through, and you played spooky music, and we filmed a walkthrough of it, so that's out there.
Yeah, it lives on.
Yeah, I'll put a little snippet of it here while we're talking, but yeah, it just kind of sort of went through generally the story of the book, but more just about evoking the mood and some of the characters, and yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, I don't know what compelled us to do all that work.
Well, once again, it was just we have all this creative energy built up, and we were just always trying to find ways to put it out there, whether it be, you know, independently made comics or independent short films or feature films or Halloween walkthroughs. Like we were not able to just get together and chill. It was always like, what can we make? What can we do?
Let's do something.
Yeah, let's do something. And, you know, in hindsight, it was a great idea because now we can look back on all this cool stuff we did. But yeah, that was fun.
And then that's when the coloring.
All right, there we go.
2018.
2018. Once again, just couldn't let this thing go. So I think I had colored an issue of the other comic you were doing with our friend Tristan, and I was like, yeah, I could probably. I wasn't very good, but I was just like, I know you were like, I do not have the willpower to color this whole comic, so I was like, I could probably do it in my spare time, and you did a lot of the better accents and stuff in the coloring, but that was the next step, was taking these good scans and coloring them and putting them out in yet a third version of the book, which we have here. This did get printed.
Yeah, some people might have this out there, like people that have been following for a while, you know. We had these at conventions back in the day, and we're sold out of them now. So again, it's another weird old thing that it's just like, it's out there, you know.
It's a rarity, but there were more of these made. I think there was only like we said, like maybe 20 or 30 of these made.
Yeah, a couple
we printed
hundred.
A couple hundred of these. At least I think the first run was 100, maybe 150. Right. And then I think we did a second run with a little bit more. But yeah, it's a nice full-sized collection of the 3-part story that we did.
New covers.
Yes.
4 of them.
Yes, there's a third front cover, and then Nick did new covers for the 3 parts. And those look great. They look a lot better than the interior.
Yeah, this is like 3 years later.
Yeah, he had evolved. I think you were digital at that point, right?
Yeah, that was right after I first got the iPad, so I was like really just getting acquainted with it when I did these covers.
That was a big jump.
Yeah,
in terms of quality.
Definitely.
And then we didn't have to worry about scanning pages.
Well, that's so nice. Going forward, never having to worry about scanning pages again.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
Yeah. No, it you know, it looks okay. Yeah. It looks better than the black and white version, I would say. And you relettered it, right? You did all the lettering, and that looks a lot better too.
I'm still not crazy about the lettering. You know, like overall, it's kind of like you know, like early kind of amateurish work at the end of the day. But it's a fun thing that exists.
There's a kind of a comparison of a black and white and a color page, and there's the other one. They're printed on opposite pages at this point, so the right page was the left page here, which is the way it was supposed to be. I think for some reason we did it off on the ash can just to limit the amount of pages we were printing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, the colors helped define kind of the washes and the crazy environments in some of it.
Yeah, because some of the stuff I was just kind of like scribbling at points back in the day.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, for a while this was it. We were like, this is the definitive The Spirit of the Shadows book, and it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
This was put out in what year?
2018.
2018.
Yep. And that was kind of the end of Spirit as a comic for a little bit then.
Yeah,
right?
so I guess then at the same time that this was happening, I guess I didn't realize this. So while I was still in college, I was taking a screenwriting class, and for my senior capstone project, which would have been 2016, 2017, I was writing a feature film version of the comic. I wanted to revisit the full story and kind of, again, come up with like the best version of it. Every iteration of it, we learned new things, and year over year, we learned more about our crafts and got better at it. So I started writing a feature film version of the better version of the story, and it even changed a lot from this version. And I got it to a place that I was pretty happy with. That sort of continued from 2016 through 2022 or to today, but I was working on it consistently for several years, even graduated after graduating in 2017. So we were getting this book in a good place at the same time as I was kind of further expanding the story and solidifying the story in its final form. At the same time, you were doing Pink Lemonade, right?
Yeah, I was doing something completely different by then. Pink Lemonade was a crazy thing because it was me trying to write the whole thing and draw the whole thing and color and everything, and I learned a heck of a lot doing it, and it was like really like special kind of experience to put together, you know, and like put out Pink Lemonade first through like independent publisher, and then crazy stuff happened like 2021, 2022-ish. Pink Lemonade got picked up by Oni Press, and then it started coming out from them like late 2022 and finished up in like summer of 2023. And that was pretty crazy because like it was sort of like, you know, we've been making stuff forever here, like since we're straight out of high school, but like Pink Lemonade getting published by Oni was sort of like in the world at large's view, like well, this is your first comic, kid, this is your breakout one right here.
Yeah.
So it was really nice being able to have that stepping stone, and finishing up Pink Lemonade. Sort of started talking, been talking with Daniel through the whole thing, like doing the Spirit screenplay while that was all going on, but like finishing Pink Lemonade, that was in like a really good place what Daniel had with the screenplay and all that, and we started talking more about like what would it be like if we did a new Spirit comic, like what would that look like, you know?
Yeah.
It was just sort of started like we kept talking about it more and more, and it sort of started falling into place pretty naturally because, like, turned out we had a lot of ideas for what to do on it.
Again, as you can see, Spirit of the Shadows had never left us from the beginning. Year over year, we found some new thing to do with him. and that idea, and that I think meant we liked it, and there was something there, and if we liked it so much, maybe someone else out there would like it. So we would constantly talk about it and what that could be and what that could do. And at that point, I think the impasse was I felt like I had this definitive version of the origin story in the screenplay, but it was an unproduced screenplay, so no one had read it except for you and me and some family friends and whatnot. So I wanted that story to be the definitive Spirit story, not the one we had done before, because it changed quite a bit. But at the same time, we had done basically that kind of story before.
Yeah.
Several times before. You wanted to push it in a new direction. And the difficulty was, okay, well, how do we basically tell a sequel story to that screenplay story when no one is aware of that screenplay story except for me and you?
Right.
So it's like, how do you tell this story while also telling a sequel to that story?
Yeah, it's a very, very precarious spot to be in, and a very interesting spot.
Yes, it was an interesting challenge, and at first I was like, I don't know, I really just want to make this story, but then we pretty quickly came to a narrative idea that would make it work just from our discussions, and it was placing the primary story after the screenplay origin story, but the character has no memory of the events of that story and therefore must piece together the important moments of it for himself and thus at the same time for the reader. So in a way, it is, again, both a sequel to, but also a first telling of that story. You have all the important moments as these memory flashbacks, and you have completely new moments in this frame story. And that was kind of the in.
Yeah.
And once we figured that out, we were like, okay, I think we can do something with this.
Right, and sort of the way the mechanics of it all sort of work out is like the stuff in the present. It's we got the spirit realm where like the character finds himself in, and he's kind of got to go through a lot of trials and errors, and that's what everybody's got to do in the afterlife here and all that. But that really opened things up to just getting weirder with it. Like that wasn't a thing in the anywhere before with the spirit. So
right. Yeah, it definitely took it to a more supernatural,
right,
mystical kind of a place. And then with that, there was a wholly new character that we came up with. And I think, if I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, we both kind of had an idea for what a sequel story could be, and then ultimately we smashed them together. So my take on where the story could go was, what if it's about this character in an afterlife atoning for their actions in the real life? And then your idea of where the story could be is, what if there is someone, a witch type character that is seeking revenge on said character. And so in the end, without getting into too many details, both kind of happen.
Wow, I think that's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Like we had a lot of little things that we really wanted to get out of this whole story that we wanted to see happen, and there's a lot of like spitballing and trying to figure out how those things would fit into place. And like sometimes I'd be drawing little things and then you'd be like, that's really cool, but like how do we fit that in there,
Yeah, Nick's the king of coming up with a crazy outlandish idea and just being like, oh, I'll figure it out. I don't know what we can do with it, but it's cool.
I got a hat.
Yeah.
That's how you did the one. It's like, there's just a hat there.
Yeah. Even like, some unused character designs, and like I know we had 2 different looks for the witch character early on, and then we're like, what if she changes her look halfway through? And it was a lot of fun trying to, again, like tell this story to people for the first time, because we're well aware nobody else is aware of these prior stories, and you shouldn't be. Like, issue 1 is of the Oni book, completely standalone.
Yeah, this is what we want everybody to see.
This is your introduction. Even though we've been doing spirit stuff forever, this book is the first time you should be aware of the spirit, and it's written so that it is meant to be your first introduction to the spirit and the story and the character. It's a wholly standalone series, but for us, it had a whole lot of building blocks to get to that point.
Yeah, and I think it's arrived in sort of like its final form, so to speak. It's really like that evolved state, like talking about that evolution again. Like, I feel like everything from the art to the story is like as like narrowed in and focused as it like possibly can be, and like really refined, like in every way you could hope for. And like that's the one thing I think is gonna be really rewarding for people reading it, is just how like it goes from so many questions you'll be having in your head, and it just answers them when you want those answers, and like it'll be leaving you wanting more and bouncing you around from place to place in a really like never keep you sitting down kind of way,
Yeah, I think we're really pleased with the way that this story unfolds across all 5 issues, but also the way that the individual issues unravel and the way they're left behind. But yeah, it's a very, very exciting book. It's the evolution of everything that we have both collectively done over the years, either with this character or just on our own. I've written a whole bunch of other films, and you've done, obviously, Pink Lemonade and a whole bunch of other comics. So we're at a point now where, this is it. This is the book, and you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, we're really honored and blessed to be in the position where, after all that hard work and like a decade later, doing stuff with this character, tinkering around, it's in a spot where the world's really finally ready to be able to meet it and experience it,
Yeah. Final order cutoff is in January 5th.
Yeah.
So that's coming up really quick. It releases in comic shops everywhere January 28th, 2026. And we hope it's a big smash hit. We hope if you read it and you like it, or even if you don't, let us know what you think. We just, again, love hearing people talk about it. Because early on, some of those early books we did, nobody cared.
Yeah.
And the only thing that hurts worse than someone disliking your art is nobody talking about it at all. We will do a spoiler discussion after the book is released.
Yeah.
So we can talk about some of the specifics of the story and the art and how we got there. But for now...
You want to hang out with us for that too.
Yes.
Come on. So pre-order the book.
Mm-hmm. Pre-order the book, read it, and then come back for the full spoiler discussion, and we'll keep this character going.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks.